guard Addie Verhagen out of Sheboygan, Wisconsin, went to Sheboygan Lutheran, averaging 10.1 points per game and 4.6 assists. Third guard tonight will be 5'9" junior guard Elise Dahl. Dahl out of Osseo, Wisconsin with the Osseo Fairchild, averaging 4.9 points per game and 2.6 rebounds. The forwards this evening for Stout are 5'9" senior Rosella Willie out of Cannon Falls, Minnesota, went to Farmington High School there, averaging 6.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds. And the other forward is 6'2" junior Mariah Wiltrout. Wiltrout out of Cambridge, Minnesota, went to Cambridge Isante High School. She averages 5.2 points per game and 3.5 rebounds. So the pointers will be home 3 out of the next 4 games, and there is one scratch, Kate Vandenberg, currently sick, so hopefully we'll see her back Saturday. So she will miss this game due to an illness. As we're just about ready here, so we will let the national anthem will be the next thing you hear.
For tonight's conference game between the UW-Stout Blue Devils and your UW-Stevens one-pointers. Now everyone, please rise if able and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
All right, Mapatano back out here at Cheerleader Court, Berg Gymnasium. Let's take a look at the starting lineups again. 4 pointers: Panich, Rice, Kilpatrick, Carissa Smith, and Ernst for fourth-year head coach Matt Hocken, who is 55 and 36 overall, 15 and 30 in the conference. For Stout, it's Berg, Verhagen, Willie, Dahl, and Wiltrout. For eighth-year head coach Hannah Iverson, who is 122 and 66 overall, 52 and 42 in the conference. Pointers are assisted by Bruce Williams and Leah Ernest. The assistants at Stout are Kylie Fanning, Brooke Olson, and the student assistant is their 1,700-point scorer and catalyst for their Final Four team last year, Reagan Sorensen. As the Blue Devils will be in their road uniforms tonight, blue jerseys with blue shorts, white numerals and white lettering with gray trim. For the Pointers, they'll be in their home uniforms tonight, white jerseys with white shorts. They have purple numerals and purple lettering with gold trim. All right, the Pointers are home for 3 out of their next 4 games. They're home tonight, home Saturday against Platteville. That'll be a 3 o'clock game, excuse me. They're on the road next Wednesday at River Falls, and then home next Saturday for, I believe, that should be lacrosse on the 24th. And it is indeed lacrosse. That'll be Alumni Day. For the Pointers, so trying to get up off the mat here, the Pointers, as they started 0-3. And Stout coming in off their first win, again off a Final Four appearance last year. They drew the short end of the stick in the national semifinal last year. They had to play the eventual champion, NYU. As it's going to be Ernst to jump center here against Wiltrout. Point going left to right. Ball is in the air, and the Pointers control the opening tip. Rice has it, gives it off to Panich. Panich over to Rice. Rice with it. Back to Kilpatrick. On the wing to Panich. Panich with it, driving on the baseline. Reverse layup, up and in. And the Pointers with the early 2-0 lead. 9:39 left to go in the opening quarter. As here's Verhagen with it. Gets it over to Willie. Willie with it. Pass tipped, intercepted by Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick with Willie chasing her, lays it up. No good, but a foul coming up on Willie. That's going to be her first, the team's first, and that's going to send Emma Kilpatrick to the line for 2 here. So Kilpatrick shoots it at 75% on the season from the foul line. And the first one off to the left and no good. Second one is good. So 1 of 2 for Kilpatrick. And the Pointers with the 3-0 lead. 9:23 left to go in the opening quarter. Here's Dahl with it to Verhagen. Out in the hands of Wiltrout. Back to Verhagen, over to Willie. Willie with it. Kilpatrick guarding her. To Verhagen. Down low, Wiltrout. Wiltrout off the glass, up and in. And that gets Stout on the board. 3-2 Pointers. 9 minutes left to go in the opening quarter. Here's Rice with it. Over to Smith, back to Rice. Open 3 in the corner. Rattles that one home. 6-2 Pointers lead at 8:47 left to go here in the opening quarter. Again, down low to Wiltrout. Turnaround shot in the lane. Too strong. Gets her own miss. Goes back up and gets the roll. All right, Wiltrout has all the Blue Devils points here. As Kilpatrick will bring it up for the Pointers. Kilpatrick, lob pass for Ernst, too far, out of bounds. As checking in for the Stout Blue Devils is 5'11" sophomore forward Emily Coonrod out of Hastings, Minnesota, a transfer from UW Superior. And Brooklyn Bird, a 5'11" freshman, another hometown gal out of Menominee, Wisconsin. Smith, corner 3, ring that one up. 9-4, Pointers lead at 8:07 left to go in the opening quarter. Here's Berg with it to Verhagen. Verhagen over to Coonrod. Now into the hands of Berg. Berg with it into the hands of Dahl. 10 left to go on the shot clock. Corner 3 on the way from Coonrod. Short. Pointers up with a rebound. Panich will bring it up. Panich into the front court. Panich on the drive. Stout wanted to travel, none called. Panich with it in the paint, has to do something. Gets it out on the perimeter to Kilpatrick. Now to Panich again out near midcourt. Panich, 10 left to go on the shot clock. On the drive, right side, puts it up, leaves it short. Kilpatrick with the rebound. Kilpatrick, a little scoop shot in the lane, no. And Burt tried saving it, it went off. We're gonna get Rachel Hagen, a 5'10" junior out of Duluth, Minnesota, went to Duluth East in there for the Pointers, along with 5'11" junior guard forward out of Herbster, Wisconsin with the South Shore, Lola Chushan for the Pointers. Verhagen with it, Verhagen. Gets it to Coonrod. Coonrod down low to Burke. Burke, scoop shot up and gets the roll off the rim. 9-6 Pointers lead it. 6:55 left to go here in the opening quarter. Here's Panich with it. Over to Hagen. Hagen, straight on 3 by Rice. Off the front rim. Burke down with the rebound for Stout into the hands of Verhagen. Verhagen into the front court with it. Verhagen to Burt. Over to Coonrod. Coonrod back to Verhagen. Lob pass for Burt. We're going to get a foul coming up on the pointers. As Truchon with a little forearm to the back. Brenna Gary, the 5'7" sophomore guard out of Oshkosh West, in there for the pointers. Grace Shizzle, the 5'10" junior out of New Holstein, Wisconsin, by way of Grandview University, in there for Stout. Verhagen with it for the Blue Devils. Over to Coonrod. Coonrod to Shizzle. Back to Coonrod. A three, too strong. And Panich down with the rebound for the pointers. Panich into the front court with it. Hits it to Truchon, back to Panich. Panich on the drive, in the corner. Gary three on the way, in and out. Verhagen down with the rebound. Up ahead to Coonrod, who almost wasn't paying attention. Out to Berg. Over to Verhagen, back to Coonrod. Now back to Verhagen. Over to Shizzle. Shizzle. Down low to Coonrod, knocked away, but it goes into the hands of Burt. Burt left of the lane, has it poked away. Pointers up with it. As Truchon with it. Now to Panich. Panich over the timeline. Over to Rice. Rice. Back to Hagen, a three left of the circle, and Hagen knocks down that three. That gives the Pointers a 12-6 lead here with 5:22 left to go in the opening quarter. Here's Berg with it. Berg in the lane to Burt. Burt down low. Burt puts up a shot in the lane. No, gets her own miss though. Burt, and a traveling violation on Burt. Dahl and Wiltrout back in for Stout. Ernst back in for the Pointers, along with 5'8" junior guard out of Stoughton, Wisconsin, and a transfer from Minnesota State Moorhead, Ava Loftus, in there for the Pointers, and Loftus will bring it up for a point. Hits it over to Rice. Rice with it. Rice over to Hagen. Now to Gary in the corner, back to Hagen. Hagen starts to dribble. Hagen back to Gary. Gary into the hands of Loftus. 5 left to go on the shot clock. Loftus with it. Loftus down low. Loftus to Ernst, right of the lane. Off the heel, and then they're going to get it over the back on Brenna Gary. Going for the rebound, her first. That will be the team's in the first quarter, and that's going to bring us to our first immediate timeout here in the quarter. As the score is UW Stevens Point 12, UW-Stout 6. 4:40 left to go in the first quarter. Back after this, as you're watching UWSP women's basketball here on the WIAC Network. Back out here, Shirley Court Berg Gymnasium. They're shooting 44% from the field, 60% from behind the arc, as Stout's shooting 42.9% and has yet to hit a three. All right, Berg brings it up for the Blue Devils. Gets it into the hands of Willie. Willie over to Shizzle in the corner. Now back to Berg. Berg over to Dahl. Dahl with it. Back to Shizzle. Shizzle on the wing as left is guarding her. Now to Dahl on the drive, and Dahl's going to get called for a travel. Verhagen back in there for Stout. Olivia Johnson, the 6'3" freshman center out of Hermantown, Minnesota, went to Hermantown High School, checks in for the Blue Devils. Hagen with the basketball. Over to Loftus, now to Rice. Rice with it, back to Gary. Gary with it on the perimeter. Gary to Hagen. Back to Rice, 10 left to go on the shot clock. Rice trying to drive on the baseline, cut off there. Rice with 5 left to go on the shot clock. Loftus with it, Loftus ducks under, puts a shot up off the front rim, no, and Berg up with the rebound. Berg into the front court. Berg steps up for a 3. Too hard, out of bounds. Last touch by Stout. Back to the Pointers as Kilpatrick back in for Stevens Point. And Hagen will have a seat. Hagen keeps her 100% shooting at the three-point line so far intact with that 3 that she made. Gary with it. Gary down low to Rice. Rice in the lane, turn around, soft touch up and in. It's 5 for Rice. Pointers with a 14-6 lead, 3:16 left to go in the opening quarter. Here's Verhagen with it. Verhagen in the paint. Turnaround shot, knocks that down from 15. 14-8, Pointers lead it, 3:01 left to go in the opening quarter. Here's Gary with it. Gary, bounce pass to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick in the lane. Kilpatrick, couple of moves, misses it, air ball. Ernst with the rebound underneath, gets fouled. And the foul is coming up on Rosella Willie. That's going to be her second. That's going to be the team's second here in the first quarter. Coonrod back in for the Blue Devils, and Carissa Smith back in for Point. Smith to inbound, baseline left underneath their own basket here. Lob pass into Ernst. Ernst tries handing it off to Smith, gets knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Blue Devils. Not happy with that. Panich in for the Pointers. And Loftus will have a seat. Gary's going to inbound on the opposite sideline. Gary gets it into Panich. Over to Smith. Smith. Gary thought about the 3. 5 left to go on the shot clock. Gary in the lane. Gary a little circus shot. No. Misses everything, and Stout up with the rebound. Berg with it. Up ahead to Verhagen. Verhagen. Lob pass to Johnson. Now Johnson with it, right of the lane. Turnaround shot. Misses everything. Kilpatrick up with the rebound. Here's Kilpatrick with it into the front court. To Smith, open 3. Too strong. Dahl down with the rebound for Stout. Into the hands of Verhagen. Verhagen with it. Down low to Johnson, knocked away from behind by Ernst, as she made a nice job catching up. That one out of bounds. Burke back in for Stout. 14-8, Pointers lead it. 2 minutes left to go in the opening quarter here. Berg to inbound on the baseline left, gets it into Verhagen. Verhagen with it, Verhagen. Verhagen in the paint, looks like shuffle the feet, no call, puts it up, misses it. Burt had the rebound momentarily, knocked out of her hands, and it'll go back to Point. So they say the Blue Devils touched it last. Kilpatrick to inbound, gets it into Panich. Panich gets it over to Gary. Gary, Kilpatrick, Panich, corner 3, too strong. Ernst chases down the rebound though, on the baseline. Now to Kilpatrick on the perimeter. Kilpatrick, lob pass to Ernst, staying too high. Intercepted by Burt. Burt to Coonrod, goes off her, but right into the hands of Burt, and shuffles it off to Berg. Back to Burt. Burt down low off the glass, up and in. Well, frantic play. Frantic sequence there for the Blue Devils when it worked out as they got 2. As here come the Pointers the other way. Gary with it. Gary over to Smith. Out to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick back to Panich. Panich with it. Panich on the drive. Panich in the paint. Panich gets it to Gary. Gary left the lane. Back to Panich. 5 left to go on the shot clock. Straight on 3. Off the rim. Doesn't get the roll. Verhagen gets the rebound. Goes out of bounds. Foul up coming on the Pointers. That'll come up on Kilpatrick. That'll be her. Johnson will check back in for Stout, along with Shizzle. Okay, so that's the first on Kilpatrick, team's third, and we're going to see J.C. Manny, the 5'4" freshman guard out of Germantown, Wisconsin, coming off the bench for the Pointers. As Verhagen on the drive draws a foul. Rice will pick it up. That's her first. That's the team's fourth in the quarter. So Manny, who saw some action late in the game Saturday at Oshkosh, in there now. Again, Vandenberg out with an illness, as missing it down low was Dahl. Pointers up with the rebound. About a 3-second shot to game clock differential here. 14-10, Pointers lead it. 25 seconds left to go in the quarter. Here's Gary with it. Gary to Smith. Smith with it. 10 left to go in the shot clock. In the corner to Manny. Now Truchon with it. Over to Gary. 5 left to go in the shot clock. Gary on the drive. Puts it up and in. 3 seconds left to go. Here's Berg, a half-court heave. That's how the first quarter ends here tonight with the score UW-Stevens Point 16, UW-Stout 10. We will take a timeout and come back with the second quarter in 1 minute as you're watching UWSP Women's Basketball here on the WIAC Network. At Scherlager Court, Berg Gymnasium, 16-10, Pointers lead it. The men leading Stout 14-8, 10:57 left to go first half. Oshkosh over Platteville 12-4, 9:30 left to go in the second quarter. It's River Falls and Eau Claire tied at 17, 52 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Whitewater leading La Crosse after one, 16-15. Stout misses the shot as we get ready as we started the second quarter. Panich with it, up ahead to Rice. Here's Rice with the basketball. Rice in the lane. Little scoop shot, too hard. Rice gets it back after a couple of caroms. And they're going to get a travel call as Rice put it up and in. But it'll go back to Stout here. Verhagen will bring it up for the Blue Devils. Verhagen hits it over to Shizzle. Down low to Wiltrout against Ernst, misses it, and the Pointers up with the basketball. Here's Manny with it. Good defense there by Ernst. As Rice with the basketball, down low to Ernst on the left, off the glass, up and in. Her first points of the evening. Pointers with an 18-10 lead, 9:05 left to go in the second quarter. Shizzle, 3, left side, no. And Rice down with a weak side rebound into the hands of Panich. Up ahead to Smith. Almost a dangerous pass there. Smith loses a dribble, gets it back to Panich out near midcourt. Panich over to Rice. Rice, 3-ball, leaves it short. Trying to hustle for her own rebound, and then they're going to get a foul on Rice. That's going to be 2 on her. A little too aggressive going after the basketball. Second, team's first here in the quarter. Brooklyn Burt back in there for Stout. As Berg will bring it up for the Blue Devils here. Berg, free throw line jumper, short, and the rebound goes to Panich. Panich will be picked up there by Verhagen. Panich directing traffic here to Smith. Now into the hands of Rice. Rice with it. Rice right of the lane, mid-range, no. Ball gets tipped to Berg on the rebound. Berg coming the other way. Berg to Shizzle. Open three off the rim as Rice had the rebound momentarily. Goes to Dahl. Now into the hands of Burt. Over to Berg. Berg with it. Three. Too strong. Smith down with the rebound for the Pointers. We're going to get a timeout, Stevens Point. And we're going to round that up with our media timeout as well. 18-10, Pointers lead it. 7:56 left to go. Second quarter. Back in a minute as you're listening to or watching UWSP women's basketball here on the WIAC network. Court 18-10, Pointers lead it after they take a timeout. Kilpatrick to inbound it, gets it into Panich. Panich has Verhagen guarding her, over to Gary. Gary has Shizzle on her, Gary with it, Gary over to Kilpatrick, now to Panich. Panich with it, Panich loses the dribble, goes to the corner, picked up there by Stout, but they stepped on the sideline, so it'll stay with the Pointers here. Gary's going to inbound on the opposite sideline for the Pointers. Gary gets it into Panich. Panich with it. Under 10 left to go on the shot clock. Smith with it. 5 left to go on the shot clock. Smith on the drive. Smith over to Ernst. Got to get it off, and they didn't get it off in time. Shot clock violation. Ernst didn't see the shot clock expiring, and that'll be a turnover for the Pointers. Only their third so far this evening. A lot better than the 19 they had Saturday at Oshkosh. Here's Berg with it. Pulls up inside the arc, leaves it short. And Kilpatrick with the rebound. She'll bring it into the front court. Bounce pass to Gary. Right side, up and in. Gary got behind the Stout defense. And it's a 20-10 Pointer lead here with 7:04 left to go in the second quarter. Here's Berg with it. Berg slicing her way down the lane. Layup up and in off the glass. Her first points of the evening. As that was a 4-minute scoreless drought for Stout that just got ended there by Berg. Smith with it over to Gary. Out to Kilpatrick. Over to Panich. Lob pass down low to Ernst. Right side up and in. Berg will bring it up for Stout. Berg. 3 from Shizzle. Too long. Burt trying to chase down the rebound. That goes out of bounds. Truchon back in for the Pointers. Stout. And we'll see 5'7" sophomore guard out of Lacrosse. Played at Lacrosse Aquinas, Maddie Murphy in there for the Pointers. So they got to mix and match and make up for the minutes that Vandenberg's been getting as of late. So Panich trying to get it over the timeline, does. Gets it over to Murphy, 3, it's a line drive. Gary with the rebound. Gary tripled underneath, back to Kilpatrick. 3 in the corner, too strong. And Shizzle down with the rebound for Stout. Shizzle brings it up over the timeline to Willie. Willie passing a lane for Dahl, too high, but we're going to foul coming up on point. Murphy's going to pick up the foul. That's going to be her first. That's going to be the team's second here in the quarter. Berg to inbound, baseline left, underneath their own basket, gets it into Willie. A shot fake as Truchon ran into her, no call. There's Berg with the basketball. Back to Shizzle. Over to Willie. We got 10 left to go on the shot clock. Berg with the basketball into the hands of Willie. Willie driving right side, lays it up and in. 22-14, Pointers lead it. 5.5 left to go in the second quarter. Kilpatrick with it. Kilpatrick over to Gary, almost over her head. Saves it to Truchon. Back to Panich. Corner three from Murphy. In and out. Willie down with a rebound for Stout. Gets it up to Verhagen. Verhagen leaves it off for Dahl. Back to Verhagen. Verhagen with it. Verhagen into the lane. Verhagen pulls up 10-footer. Gets the roll. (22-16) as Point turns it over into the hands of Willie. Up ahead to Dahl. Dahl with it. Back to Berg. Over to Shizzle now in the hands of Berg. Berg with it. As Panich on her. Berg. Right of the lane. 10 left to go on the shot clock. To Verhagen. Right elbow shot. Too hard. As Murphy up with the rebound. Brings it into the front court for the Pointers. Now to Kilpatrick. Over to Panich. Panich. Over to Gary. Out to Kilpatrick at the foul line. Kilpatrick. Turnaround 10-footer off the heel and into the hands of Willie. Pointers have gone the last 144 without a bucket here. Berg with it. Berg. Shot fake by Willie. Back to Berg. Berg 10-footer. No. But Stout gets the rebound. Verhagen hoists up a three. Too hard. And Gary gets the rebound for the Pointers. Here's Gary with it, over to Kilpatrick right side. Lob pass down to Truchon, who gets doubled and a foul upcoming on the Blue Devils. Comes up on Elise Dahl. That's going to be her first. The team's first. As we'll get Rice, Hagen, and Loftus back in for the Pointers. Rice to inbound. Baseline right underneath their own basket. Gets it into Truchon in the corner. Out of Murphy. Murphy has Shizzle on her over to Rice. Rice with it. Rice. 10 left to go on the shot clock. Rice puts it up off the rim. And Stout up with a rebound. Willie with it up ahead to Berg. Down low. Missing that was Dahl, and the Pointers get the rebound as the Pointers have gone the last 2:56 without a bucket. Loftus with it. Over to Rice, lob pass down low to Truchon, right side, off balance shot. Nope, and Willie down with the rebound to Berg. Pointers 1 for their last 6 from the field. Here's Shizzle with it, over to Dahl. Skip pass into the corner, that was Verhagen. Dribbles out of there on the baseline underneath. Back into the corner, 3 by Willie. Knocks that one down. She's got 5, and it's 22-19. Pointers lead at 2:35 left to go in the second quarter. As Stout on a 7-0 run. And that has ended right there as Truchon makes that baseline jumper. Pointers needed that one in the worst way as they were almost 4 minutes without a bucket. Here's Berg with it over to Verhagen. Verhagen with it. Has Loftus on her. Verhagen over to Shizzle. Shizzle. Back to Verhagen. Straight on 3. Knocks it down. That's 7 for Verhagen. And the Blue Devils within 2 at 24-22 and at 52 left to go in the first half. Hagen with it. Hagen on the drive. Hagen picks up the dribble. Truchon 3 right side. Too hard after a couple bounces off the rim, but it goes right to Hagen. Hagen splits the double team. First shot, no. Second shot gets fouled. Foul come up on Dahl. That's going to be her team second in the quarter. Carissa Smith back in for the Pointers along with J.C. Manny. So Hagen at the line for 2. First time there tonight, 33% on the year. First one is up and good. That gives her 4. Second one from Hagen is good. 5 for her. Coonrod's going to check back in for Stout. As Berg will bring it up for the Blue Devils. Berg in the corner to Coonrod. Back to Verhagen. Pass to Shizzle, intercepted by Rice. Rice lays it up and in. 7 for her. And the Pointers with a 6-point lead here at 28-22, and a minute 8 left to go in the first half. Here's Verhagen with it. Verhagen on the drive, goes up, gets fouled, and will be at the line shooting 2. Foul comes up on Lily Truchon. That's going to be her second. That'll be the team's third here in the quarter. And Verhagen at the line, first time tonight. First one is up and good, as she's a 69% foul shooter on the year. That free throw gives her 8. Gary's going to check in for the Pointers. And Wiltrout for as Verhagen makes the second one. Hagen gets it into Manny. And she races it up to Rice. Rice with it to Truchon. Baseline jumper too strong. Coonrod down with a rebound for Stout. Into the hands of Berg. Berg turns it over to Manny. Out to Hagen. Hagen lays it up into the foul. Chance for a 3-point play for Rachel Hagen. Coonrod picks up the foul, her first, team's third here in the quarter. Hagen at the line for 1. Too strong, so she can't complete the 3-point play, and Stout up with the rebound. Here's Berg with it. Over to Willie in the corner, down low. As Wiltrout misses it, gets her own miss, back up, no, and a foul upcoming on point. That'll come up on Brenna Gary. It's going to be her second. That'll be the team's 4th. Wiltrout will go to the line for 2, 56% on the year. Smith back in for Gary. Wiltrout's first free throw is up and no good. Misses them both, and Stout gets the rebound, though. Willie gets it in the corner. And we got another foul coming up on the Pointers. That's going to be their 5th. Foul comes up on Maya Rice. Ponic checks back in. That's 2 on Rice. Willie at the line shooting 2. First one is up and good. Willie shoots it at 75% on the year. It's going to give her 6. And 7. Kilpatrick back in for the Pointers, 30-26. Pointers lead as they can hold for the last shot here. 27.3 seconds left to go in the first half. Here's Panich with it to Kilpatrick, over to Smith, back to Panich. Panich back to Smith at the corner. Smith dribbles out of there, bounce pass in the lane to Kilpatrick, mid-range, no, as that rolled off the rim. And Berg down with it as Stout can go for the last shot here. They can pull within 2 or 1 possibly. Verhagen with 3 to Berg, a prayer 3. That's going to be way short. That is going to end the first half here tonight in Stevens Point with the score. UW-Stevens Point 30 and UW-Stout 26. So an entertaining first half. Point off to a sizzling start, as it would behoove them to win this game and go to 1-3 in the conference. You don't want to go to 0-4. And Stout getting their first win on Saturday. All right, tell you what we'll do. We will take a break for a few minutes here. When we come back, we'll come back right before the start of the second half, and we'll look at the leading scores, as we will be back a little bit later here on the WIAC Network. Berg Gymnasium 30-26. Pointers lead at the half. The men's team, Pointer men are leading Stout 33-27 at the half. Oshkosh, Platteville came back at Oshkosh. It's 21-19 Oshkosh over Platteville as they get ready to start the third quarter there. As Platteville only scored 4 points in the first quarter, 15 in the second. River Falls leads Eau Claire 34-21. And La Crosse and Whitewater tied at 32. All right. Rice and Hagen with 7 points apiece for the Pointers. 4 for Ernst, 4 for Gary. 3 for Smith, 2 for Panich, 2 for Truchon, 1 for Kilpatrick. Pointers shooting 33% in the first half, 23% from behind the half.
once again, 876 294 on the yellow color ticket is worth $163.50. You can pick up your winnings at the concession stand. Thanks to everybody who participated in tonight's 50-50 raffle.
For Stout, Verhagen with 9, Willie with 7, Wiltrout with 4, Burt with 4, Berg with 2. Stout shooting 32% from the field, 20% from behind the arc, and 66% from the foul line. Pointers have 9 assists on 12 made buckets, 23 rebounds. 3 assists for Stout on 10 made free throws, and they're actually winning this rebound battle as they have 24 rebounds here tonight. All right, so both teams back on the floor here. Pointers are going to go with Panich, Rice, Kilpatrick, Smith, Carissa Smith, and Ernst. Berg, Verhagen, Willie, Dahl, and Wiltrout there for Stout. All right, so the Pointer men up at the half, they're looking to go to 4-0 on the year, 33-27, like we said there. And they will be back on the road Saturday as the women are at home. They'll be at Platteville. That's going to be a 5 o'clock start for the Pointer men. Looks like Platteville dumped their 7 o'clock Saturday night starts. All right, Pointers are going to go right to left. They're going to have the ball here to start the second half as we're ready to get this second half underway. Kilpatrick to inbound, gets it into Panich, who's being harassed by Berg, and we're underway here in the third quarter. Over to Smith. Smith in the corner to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick dribbles out of there. Back to Smith. Smith with it. Smith has it poked away into the hands of Wiltrout. And the Blue Devils with it. Here's Berg with the basketball. Berg gets it over to Verhagen. Verhagen, lob pass down low to Wiltrout. Turn around in the lane, off soft touch, up and in. 6 for her. That brings the Blue Devils to within 2 at 30-28. 9:19 left to go in the third quarter. Kilpatrick to Panich. Panich to Rice. Rice back to Smith for a 3 on the way, and Smith knocks that one down. Her second from downtown tonight. That gives her 6. And gives the Pointers a little bit of a breather room. Wiltrout gets a shot blocked down low by Ernst. Pass out to Berg, touched by Smith, and it will stay with the Blue Devils. Dahl the inbound in front of the Stout bench. Gets it into Willie. Back to Dahl, down low to Wiltrout. Turnaround shot. Ooh, soft touch again off the rim, up and in. Wiltrout has all the Stout points in the second half here. She's got 8. 33-30, Pointers lead at 8:37 left to go in the third. Kilpatrick to Rice. Over to Panich. Looks like Stout's going to a trapping defense here. Panich almost lost it. They get it down low to Ernst, who's doubled off the glass, up and in. Stout bench wanted to travel on Panich, does not get one. Here's Berg with it, and on the drive, Mary Berg gets fouled. Foul's coming up on Carissa Smith. It's going to be her first. That'll be the team's first here in the quarter. Berg to inbound. And Berg throws it into the backcourt, where it'll be picked up there by Dahl. Over to Verhagen. Verhagen with it. Verhagen gets tied up, and they're going to get a foul on Panic. It's going to be her first. That'll be the team's second here in the quarter. Berg to inbound, baseline right underneath their own basket into Verhagen. Verhagen over to Berg. Out of the hands of Dahl. Over to Willie. To Verhagen, over to Berg. 10 left to go on the shot clock. Berg with it. Pulls up, mid-range jumper in and out. Smith down with a rebound for the Pointers into the hands of Panic. Panic over to Rice. Rice with it. Rice down the middle of the lane. Lays it up and in. 9 for Maya Rice. Looking to get her 4th straight conference game in double figures. Here's Verhagen with it on the drive, and a foul upcoming on the Pointers. That'll come up on Panic. It's going to be her second. Boy, that's already the team's 3rd foul. Pointers got one more foul to give here with 7:23 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Here's Willie with it down low, leaves it short. Kilpatrick on the rebound for the Pointers, and she'll bring it into the front court. Kilpatrick, coast to coast, lays it up and in. And we're going to get a timeout, Stout. Actually, I think the timeout was point. We'll take it anyways. That'll bring us to our media timeout. First media timeout here in the 3rd quarter. 39-30 Pointers lead it. 7:09 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Back with more after this as you're watching UWSP women's basketball here on the WIAC network. Berg Gymnasium. Pointers on a 6-0 run here in the last minute 38. 7:09 left to go. As 36-31, the men's team leads. 18:05 left to go second half. Oshkosh over Platteville, 28-24 on the women's side. 5:36 left to go in the 3rd quarter. River Falls 36, Eau Claire 28. 7:06 left to go 3rd quarter. And Whitewater over La Crosse 35-32. 8:55 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Stout with the basketball. Here's Berg with it. Over to Dahl. Dahl at the foul line to Willie. Down low, Wiltrout up and in. Boy, Wiltrout having herself a 3rd quarter. She's got 6 points, 10 for the game. 39-32. Pointers lead it, 6:38 left to go in the 3rd. Lob pass down low to Ernst, who got contact but no foul, and here comes Stout with it the other way. Here's Berg with it. Berg over to Verhagen. Verhagen. Back over to Dahl. Out is Berg. Berg with it. Little runner in the lane. Nope. And Rice claims the rebound for the Pointers. And Panic will bring it up. Go over to over to Rice, excuse me. Has Willie on her. Rice with it. Rice. Over to Kilpatrick, 3 on the way, in and out. Ernst knocks it out of bounds, and it'll go back to Stout. Trushan back in for the Pointers. Shizzle back in for Stout along with Burt. As Verhagen brings it up for the Blue Devils. Verhagen over to Shizzle, down low to Burt. Burt against Trushan. Burt has it poked away, goes into the hands of Smith. Smith with it. Smith over to Rice. Rice, right side. Down low, Rice puts up a tough shot. Misses it. Smith with the rebound, gets fouled underneath. As Rice is probably trying to draw a foul, none called. Shizzle picks up the foul, her first. That's the team's first here in the quarter, as Johnson will check back in for Burt. For the Blue Devils, Rice to inbound baseline left. Rice gets it into Smith. Smith over to Trushan. Trushan over to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick with it. Over to Tanich. Down low, Trushan. And a step through in the lane, gets fouled on Johnson, by Johnson. And Johnson will pick it up, her first team second. That will send Lily Trushan to the line for a pair here. First one from Trushan is up and good. 40% on the year. That was her first time at the line tonight, makes that one. And Trushan makes them both, that gives her 4. 41-32, Pointers lead at 5:18 left to go in the third. Shizzle with it, over to Verhagen. Verhagen down low on the right, puts it up and in, tough shot. And Verhagen, that gives her 11. Here's Rice with it, Rice through the lane, nope. Floated in and runner didn't go, Stout up with it. Verhagen with it, her pass tipped by Smith, throwing right back to Verhagen. Over to Shizzle, down low to Johnson. Johnson puts up a tough shot, misses it all. Kilpatrick down with the rebound, brings it up. Kilpatrick into the front court. Kilpatrick with it on the drive, goes up. No foul called, out of bounds. He's going to check in. We're going to get another media timeout here with 4:38 left to go in the third, as it's 41-34. Pointers lead it. Back after this as you're watching UWSP women's basketball here on the WIAC network. All right, Matt Tuttle back out here at the Bird Gymnasium. Shirley 34 Pointers lead it. The men now trailing Stout 41-39, 15-37 left to go in the second half. Oshkosh women up 33-27, 4:10 left to go over Platteville in the third. River Falls 41, Eau Claire 34, 37 left to go in the third. And Lacrosse women 41, Whitewater 40, 6 minutes left to go in the third. Pointers inbound, they get it into Hagen. Hagen right of the lane to Trushan. Thought about the three. Starts to drive, up and under move in the paint, and gets it to go. Nice play there by Trushan, 6 for her. Pointers with a 9-point lead, and 4:20 left to go in the third. Verhagen with it, Verhagen has Tanich on her. Lob pads to Johnson. Johnson goes up and gets fouled as she goes to the floor. Hagen's gonna pick up the foul, that's her first. That's the team's 4th now. So that's the last foul for the Pointers to give. And that'll send Johnson in the line for 2. 50% on the year from the foul line. First time there tonight, makes the first one. Second one front rims it. Rice down with the rebound for the Pointers. To Panich. Panich with it over to Rice. Rice with it. Rice to Truchon. Thought about the three. Over to Panich. It goes off for Hagen and off back to Stout. Berg back in there for the Blue Devils. Verhagen. Over to Willie. Now back to Verhagen. Verhagen to Johnson, almost over her head. Out of bounds, stays with Stout. Wiltrout back in there for the Blue Devils. As they get it into Willie. Now down low to Wiltrot. 10 left to go on the shot clock. In the corner. Three fake there by Willie. Driving. Pulls up left of the lane. Misses it. Truchon down with a rebound for the Pointers. Here's Smith with it. Smith to Panich. Had an open three. Pass it up. Over to Rice. Rice with it. Rice. Down low to Truchon. Truchon. Bounce pass to Hagen. Left side. Off the glass and in. 9 for Hagen. And they're going to get a delay a game on the Pointers. Next one will result in the technical foul for the Pointers. Pointers usually get a bench warning every game. Now they're going to delay a game. As here's Berg with it. Over to Verhagen. Verhagen. Verhagen down low. Verhagen. Tough shot. Gets it to go. Verhagen on the left block with 13. 45-37. Pointers lead it. 2:38 left to go in the third. Lob pass down low to Truchon. Puts it up. Leaves it short. As Wiltrout on the defense there. Here's Verhagen the other way with it. Verhagen. And gets fouled by Truchon. That's going to be her third, and that is going to put the Pointers over the limit. The line for two. Gary's going to check in for the Pointers, along with Jesselyn Ernst and Ava Loftus. Verhagen 2 for 2 for the line tonight, 69% on the year. And for the next 2:25, every Pointer foul will send Stout to the foul line. As Verhagen makes the first one, that is going to give her 14. And one more, Verhagen makes that one as well. 15 for her, 45-39, Pointers lead it. 2:20 left to go in the third quarter. All right, here's Loftus with it. They get it down low to Ernst, who has it stolen away by Willie, and they're going to actually call a jump ball, and it'll go back to the Blue Devils. Here's Berg with it. Over to Verhagen. Verhagen. Verhagen on the drive, right side, lays it up and in. 17 for Verhagen. Eight of those coming here in the third quarter. As Stout's got it down to a 4-point lead here. And there's a long two by Rice. She knocks it down. So that's her fourth straight game in the conference in double figures. It gives a 47-41 pointer lead. A minute 47 left to go. We will keep it here. Stout men are beating Point 46-41. 13:51 left to go in the second half. Back on the women's side, it's Oshkosh 39, Platteville 28. A minute 32 left to go. Falls 47, Eau Claire 35. A minute 21 left to go in the third. And Whitewater trailing Lacrosse 44-42, 4:28 left to go in the third. For Stout, coached by Hannah Ivan. Played baseball right here at Stevens Point. And of course, she had a magical ride last year with the Blue Devils, taking them to the Final Four, beating a good Scranton team on their home floor after they beat Whitewater the night before in the Sweet 16. That Scranton team was no joke, as they beat them on the road in their gym to go to Virginia to the Final Four, where NYU ended their season. And that was the first time Stout went to the Final Four in team history. Willie will inbound it here. Gets it into Dahl, and Dahl will bring it up against Loftus. Dahl over to Willie. Willie with it to Verhagen. Verhagen on the drive, has it knocked out of her hands. Ball will stay with the Blue Devils. Berg to inbound. Gets it into Willie. Now to Verhagen. Verhagen over to Berg. Out to Wiltrout. 5 left to go on the shot clock. Wiltrout, turnaround jumper on the baseline. Too strong, and Rice down with a rebound for the Pointers. Rice gets it over to Loftus. Loftus back to Rice. Skip pass. Gary, 3 on the way. Too hard. And the long rebound out to midcourt as Hagen and I believe that's Verhagen ran into each other at midcourt. Verhagen a little slow to get up. Thank goodness she didn't crash into those bleachers too hard on the opposite side. Ball was last touched by the Pointers, and we'll go back to the Blue Devils here. Berg takes the inbounds pass for the Blue Devils to Willie. Willie with it, back to Berg, 3 on the way, short, and Truchon down with the rebound for the Pointers. She'll get it into the hands of Loftus. 47-41, Pointers lead it. 43 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Rice with it. Rice back to Truchon. Over to Hagen. Hagen back to Rice. Thought about the 3. Pulls up inside and knocks it down. Long 2 from Rice. He's got 13. Pointer lead goes back to 8 with 23 seconds left to go in the quarter. Verhagen loses the basketball. They get it up to Gary. Gary has to stop. Right side, puts it up and in though. And now the Pointers with a 10-point lead. 10 seconds left to go in the quarter. Here's Dahl with it to Berg. Berg with 5 on the shot on the game clock. Berg with 2, puts it up at the horn. No good. 3 quarters of play with the score. UW Stevens Point 51, UW-Stout 41. We will take a timeout and come back in 1 minute with the fourth quarter as you are watching UWSP women's basketball here on the WIAC network. Gymnasium 51-41, Pointers lead it as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. Get you an update from the men's game here quickly. It is Stout 54, Pointers 45. 11-14 left to go in the second half there from Menominee. Pointers will have the ball to start the fourth quarter here as Kilpatrick gets it into Panich. Panich being harassed by Berg in the backcourt, gets it to Smith. Over to Rice now. Rice Down low to Ernst, goes up, misses the shot, but Rice digs the rebound out of there to Kilpatrick. Over to Smith, 3 on the way, yes! Carissa Smith, her third 3 of the evening, gives her 9, and it's a 54-41 pointer lead, 9.5 left to go in the quarter. Berg the other way, scoop shot, no, foul upcoming. Berg will be at the line, shooting 2. Foul comes up on Ernst, her first, team's first here in the quarter. Berg, a 93% foul shooter on the year for the Devils. And this is her first time to the line tonight. First one is up and good, as that gives her 3. Second one on the way and good. 4 for Berg. 11-point pointer lead with 9:25 left to go in the fourth. Rice with it. Rice to Kilpatrick. Pass got tipped, but Kilpatrick did get it into the corner. Smith thought about the 3. Back to Rice. Kilpatrick thought about the 3. Kilpatrick down low. Ernst. Ernst goes up into the foul. Chance for a 3-point play. Going to be 8 for Ernst. Foul goes up on Wiltrout, her first, team's first here in the quarter. Check back in for Stout. Having a seat will be Dahl. Ernst's first time to the line tonight, 62% on the year from the foul line for the 6'1 junior. Ernst makes the free throw, that gives her 9. And the Pointers with their largest lead of the night at 57-43. Shizzle a 3. Line drive short as a couple of bounces off the rim. Kilpatrick down with a rebound. Up ahead to Panich. Panich with it. Panich to Rice. Rice, lob pass down low to Ernst. Goes up, gets fouled. And Ernst back at the line, shooting 2. Foul come up on Wiltrout, her second. That's going to be the team's second. Madison Malika, the 5'11 sophomore guard out of Savage, Minnesota, with the Burnsville High, checked in there for the first time tonight for Stout. Ernst at the line for 2. Misses the first, she'll get 1 more. Hagen's going to check back in here if Ernst can knock this free throw down. In and out. Stout with a rebound. And Stout throws it away as Shizzle. Now they're going to bring Hagen back, so Hagen won't check in. So the coaches have the Pointers like the combination they have on the floor right now. As Stout will full court press here. Panich to Smith. Over to Rice, they break the press. Now to Ernst. Ernst gets tied up by Willie. Are they going to call a jump ball? They will. It'll go back to the Blue Devils. For Ernst. Shizzle the inbound, gets it into Berg. Verhagen with it, Verhagen. Turnaround 15-footer in the lane, too strong. Hagen with the rebound into the hands of Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick with it. Kilpatrick down low, lays it up and in. It's 5 for Kilpatrick, 59-43. Pointers lead at 8 minutes left to go in the fourth. As they get it down to Berg. Oh, and she misses from in close. That one popped out of there. Panich down with it, getting harassed by Berg. Panich picks up her dribble to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick will slow it up now. Kilpatrick to Rice. Rice with it. Back to Hagen. Hagen. 10 left to go on the shot clock. Scoop shot down low, up and in. That's 11 for Hagen. That ties her career high. which she had it ripping a couple of years ago. Shot there by Shizzles, an air ball. And then Hagen ties her up. Loftus is going to check back in for Ponich. Ernst back in as the Pointers will have the basketball again. Stout putting pressure on in the backcourt. Here's Loftus with it to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick gets it over the timeline. Off Stout, back to the Pointers. 61-43, Pointers lead it. 7:07 left to go here in the fourth. Pointers looking for conference win number 1 here, with 3 out of the next 4 at home. Loftus, Rice over to Smith, 3 on the way, hits it! Gives her 12, it's 64-43, Pointers lead it, 6:51 left to go. Here's Shizzle. Shizzle down the lane, gets tied up, and Stout will keep it on the alternating possession. Hanging back in there. Smith 4 of 5 from behind the arc tonight, as there are 3-pointers in double figures. Shizzle with it, puts the shot up. Foul coming on the Pointers. Kilpatrick picks up the foul, her second, team's second. Dahl's gonna check back. Shizzle at the line shooting 2. As she is scoreless tonight, 87% from the foul line. Makes the first one, averaging 8.3 points per game. And Ernst 2 points away from double figures as well for the Pointers. Maya Rice with a double-double. Ernst back in there for Hagen now. Kilpatrick to inbound against full court pressure. Gets it into Rice. They got numbers the other way. Rice slows it up though in the front court. Rice, pass goes through Ernst to Verhagen. Verhagen with it. Verhagen to Berg. Back to Verhagen. Verhagen in the corner to Willie. Willie dribbles out of there, dribbles it off her foot, right into the hands of Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick lays it up, leaves it short. Rice with a rebound though. That's rebound number 11 for her. As Coach Hockett wants the Pointers to bring it out and run some clock. Kilpatrick with it, down low to Ernst. Puts it up into the foul. Chance for a 3-point play for her. She will be the 4th pointer tonight. Ponich and Gary back in for the Pointers. Willie picks up the foul. That's her 3rd, team's 3rd. Ernst's free throw is up, on the way, and good. 12 for her. Hagen will check back in for Ernst. 67-45, Pointers lead it, 6:06 left to go in the game. Here's Verhagen. Verhagen, corner 3 on the way from Shizzle. I believe Rice got a piece of it as that was an air ball. Pointers up with it. Kilpatrick into the front court. Kilpatrick on the drive. Kilpatrick down low. Kilpatrick turnaround shot, rolls off the rim. Into the hands of Berg on the rebound. Berg with it. Here's Berg. Gets it over to Shizzle. Now Willie with it. Back into the hands of Shizzle. Over to Dahl. Shizzle with it. 10 left to go on the shot clock. Ball loose on the ground. Jump ball, and the Pointers in possession. 5'9" junior guard out of Hoka, Minnesota, loyal to La Crescent Hoka. Molly Bills in there for the Blue Devils. Gary in there for the Pointers, and she will inbound it here. Again, full court pressure by Stout. As they trail 67-45, 5:20 left to go in the 4th. Pointers break the pressure. Gary with it, over to Smith. got the hot hand tonight from behind the arc. Smith on the drive, scoop shot up, rolls off the rim. Ernst with the rebound, too much on it, gets her own miss, goes up again, gets fouled, and will be at the line shooting two. Foul comes up on, that's going to be on Bills. Workout running from the bench to the scorer's table tonight. Wiltrout back in there for Stout, as Ernst is going to check in, or be shooting the free throws, excuse me. And if she can make them both, then Hagen will check in for her. First one from Ernst up and in, she's got 13. 68-45, Pointers lead it. Makes them both. That's 14 for Ernst. And she's the leading scorer now for the Pointers, as here's Berg with it. Berg, step back straight on three, knocks it down. 7 for her. 69-48, Pointers lead it, 4:48 left to go. As here's Rice with it, throws it away. Here's Verhagen. Verhagen right in the lane, leaves it short. Smith down with the rebound as the pace is getting frantic here. Panich with it, crosses the timeline over to Gary. Gary back to Rice out near midcourt. Over to Smith, corner three on the way. Too strong. Panich with a rebound though. To Hagen. Over to Gary. Pointers reset. Gary. Over to Panich. Corner three. Nope. Corner three on the way. Air ball from Rice. As Berg up with it for the Blue Devils. Berg. Three on the way. Too strong. Wiltrout with the rebound. Misses that. Gets her own miss. Tied up. Jump ball. Alternating possession keeps it with the Blue Devils. All right, that's going to bring us to our media timeout here in the fourth quarter with the score UW Stevens Point 69, UW-Stout 48, 3:56 left to go with this one. Back in a minute as you're watching UWSP women's basketball here on the WIAC network. All right, Mavtana back out here. Shirley to court. Berg 69-48, Pointers lead it here. 3:56 left to go. Not good news for the men. They're down 77-54. 4:55 left to go there. Also, Oshkosh beating Platteville on the women's side, 52-41. 3:09 left to go there. 70-49. River Falls all over Eau Claire. 2:25 left to go. And, ooh, the crossover Whitewater, 62-47 late in the fourth. All right, Pointers with the basketball. Here's Panich with it, over to Rice. Rice gets it back after getting it off to Gary. Rice with it, Rice on the drive. Rice runs into Wiltrout, and a blocking foul on Wiltrout. It was a mighty collision between Maya Rice and Wiltrout there. That's going to put Stout over the limit now, so the Pointers will be shooting the rest of the game. So Maya Rice at the line first time tonight, 78% on the year. Rice at the line, first one up on the way and good. As she has 14 now along with Jesselyn Ernst. Second one also good. Now Rice is the leading scorer for the Pointers with 15 points and 11 rebounds. Verhagen with it. Verhagen puts it up, rolls around in, and she'll have a chance for a three-point play. That is going to be 19 for Verhagen, way over her season average of 10. Foul comes up on Ponic, her third quarter. Ernst back in for the Pointers, Willie back in for Stout. Verhagen's free throw in and out. Ball batted around, goes into the hands of Rice. 71-50, Pointers lead it here. 3:20 left to go. Up to Smith, now to Panic, over to Rice. Rice. Back to Panic. Panic on the drive, pulls up left block, too much on that one. Ernst battling for the rebound, finally gets it. Ernst has the ball poked out of her hands, out of bounds, back to the Pointers. Get it into Ernst, now to Smith, over to Gary. Ponic with it on the wing. Ponic. 10 left to go on the shot clock. Rice with a basketball. 5 left to go. Rice on the drive. Rice pulls up, 15-footer, knocks it down. That is 17 for Maya Rice. 73-50, Pointers lead it. Willie with it. Willie on the drive, left side, lays it up too strong. Rice down with a rebound. And that rebound number 13 for her. Here's Carissa Smith with it. Smith to Ernst, right in the lane. Ernst, bounce pass back to Smith in the lane, who gets knocked down. Ponic picks up the ball. She'll shoot up a three. Too strong. Ball batted around, goes into the hands of Smith. Over to Rice. Rice with it, pulls up, long two. She knocks that down. Maya Rice with 19. 75-50, Pointers lead it. A minute 55 left to go. Here's a straight on three, no good from Dahl. And we'll get a foul coming up on Stout going for the rebound. Willie's gonna pick it up tonight. That's 5 for her. 5'9" sophomore guard Julia Rybecki. 5'9" sophomore guard out of Somerset, Wisconsin. For the Pointers, we're going to have Aubrey Smith, a 6-foot sophomore out of Cottage Grove, went to Monona Grove. Annika Soletto, a 5'10" sophomore guard out of Beaver Dam. Maddie, a 5'10" sophomore forward out of Escanaba. And JC as well. Maddie Murphy as well. So that's going to do it for the starters pretty much tonight, outside of Maya Rice. Who's at the line for 2. First one is up and good. That gives her 20. That's going to be her second time at 20 points in a conference game this year. Second one, no good. As she had 27 in the conference opener at Eau Claire. Lucy Nichols, a 5'6" freshman, also out of Somerset. Checked in for Stout. We got an offensive foul. Molly Garber, a 5'11" sophomore guard forward out of Blaine, Minnesota. As Soletto just checked in there for the Pointers. For Soletto. Manny with it. Over to Murphy, back to Manny. A minute 35 left to go. 76-50, Pointers lead it. As the starters are all off the floor now for the Pointers. Mackey, Soletto, down low to Smith. Smith. Turnaround shot, rolls off the rim. Mackey dives to the floor, gets the rebound. Timeout point. Stout really clearing the bench here now. 5'7" senior guard, a transfer from Platteville out of Marathon, Wisconsin. Allison Wolkoch in there for Stout, as she decides to finish up her last year at Stout. As we'll just keep it here, so it looks like the Pointers are going to snap their 3-game losing streak, go to 12-3 on the year, 1-3. Platteville. Men are down 82-62 with 1:59 left to go. In that one, Oshkosh women up 54-44 on Platteville. 31 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. Pointers on Saturday. River Falls is going to beat Eau Claire as it's 71-52. Falcons 15 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. And it's lacrosse over Whitewater, 66-50, 3:52 left to go there. I guess none of these results really surprise you in the WIAC, as night in and night out, as this is the #1 league in the conference. As here's Soletto buries the 3. Solotel with the 3 makes it 79-50 Pointers. As Maleko with it, puts it up, in and out. Ball gets back tapped, but to Jordan Durline out of DeForest. Over to Wokoch. Wokoch hits it into Rybacki. Rybacki with it, 40 seconds left to go. Wokoch, 10 left to go in the shot clock. Deerline with it, over to Wokoch, 5 left to go. Down low, leaving it short was Nichols. Ball loose, Mackey with it, and the Pointers can run out the clock here. Manny with it, we'll see if they do that. Manny on the drive, down low to Smith, turnaround shot down low, leaves it short. Ball gets batted to Stout, it's still loose, Stout picks it up. Nichols with it, Nichols puts up the shot too early, almost banks it in though. And the Pointers with the rebound, Murphy with it. And the Pointers will just dribble out the clock here and get their first win of the year as the Pointers win it here tonight by a score of 79-50. So 79-50, the Pointers win this one here tonight as they go to 12-3 on the year, 1-3 in the conference. Stout drops to 10-5 on the year, and they go to 1-3 in the conference. Pointer men down 83-65, 1:12 left to go in the second half. So it looks like their unbeaten streak of conference is going to take a hit tonight. Of course, they're playing without Cal Crone, out for the year with a torn ACL.
I don't know if he actually wants it or not, but
All right, let's take a look what else is going on around in the WIAC here. It's Oshkosh. They're going to stay perfect. They're going to beat Oshkosh as it's 56-47. Oshkosh is going to stay perfect as they're going to beat Platteville 56-47. There's only 5 seconds left to go in the game there. And again, the Pointers get Platteville on Saturday, and 3 of their next 4, like we said, after including this one, are at home. We got River Falls. They're going to beat Eau Claire 71-52. There's only 3 seconds left to go there. Lacrosse over Whitewater 70-52. 1:43 left to go there. All right, let's take a look at the leading scorers here tonight. For the Pointers, Maya Rice had a double-double, a game-high 20 points and 14 boards tonight, 8 of 16 from the field for her. Ernst had 14 points for the Pointers, 5 of 9 from the field, 5 rebounds for her. 12 points for Carissa Smith, 4 of 7 from the field, including 4 of 6 from behind the arc and 5 rebounds for her. Hagen, 11 points, that ties a career high as she last did that on 11/29, November 29th of 2023 at Ripon. So after missing all of last year, for a good part of last year, actually, excuse me, she played a couple of games, but not much. So she has 11 tonight for the Pointers. All right, let's get back to looking at the stats here. Gary with 6 points, 3 of 6 from the field, a couple of rebounds for her. Trushon, 6 points, 3 rebounds for her. 5 points for Kilpatrick on 7 rebounds. 3 points for for Salatel. She had that 3 late. And Ponich with 2 points for the Pointers. They shot 30 of 71 from the field. That's good for 42.3%. 7 of 22 from behind the arc, good for 31.8%. And 12 of 17 from the foul line, good for 70.6%. Pointers had 18 assists on 30 made buckets and had 52 rebounds here tonight, and only turned the ball over 10 times. For Stout, Verhagen led them with 19 points on 7 of 12 shooting, 4 of 5 from the line, and a couple of rebounds. Wiltrout had 10 points tonight, 5 of 11 from the field with 7 rebounds. 7 points for Mary Berg, 2 of 13 shooting. Berg came into tonight averaging 9 points a game, but not good shooting from the field. 6 rebounds for her. Willie with 7 points tonight on 2 of 5 shooting, 7 rebounds for her. Burt had 4 points tonight on 2 of 3 shooting. 2 points for Shizzle, both coming from the foul line, as she was 0 of 6 in the field, and Johnson had 1 point. For Stout, they shot 18 of 60 from the field here tonight. That's good for 30%. 3 of 17 from behind the arc, good for 17.6%. And 11 of 15 from the foul line, good for 73.3%, as they had 4 assists on 18 made buckets and 37 rebounds tonight. Point, another wire-to-wire job tonight, as they led from the get-go, and their largest lead was at the end of the game when they led by 29 points, as they had that 79-50 lead. Let's take a look at some other hustle stats here tonight for the Pointers. As they said, they won the rebounding battle 52-37 here tonight against the Blue Devils. 18 assists for the Pointers compared to 4 for the Blue Devils. Blue Devils with 12 turnovers, Pointers with 10. Pointers with 26 bench points tonight to 7 for Stout. Each team didn't have a block. Fast break points, 8 for the Pointers, 0 for the Blue Devils. Pointers had 8 steals tonight, 7 for the Blue Devils. 21 points off turnovers for Point, 6 for the Blue Devils. 38 points in the paint for the Pointers, 28 for Stout. 19 second chance points for the Pointers, 4 for the Blue Devils. All right, the men's game has gone final, so Stout did put an end to the Pointers' undefeated streak in conference, 83-67. The Blue Devil men beat the Pointers over in Menominee at Johnson Fieldhouse. It's a final down in Platteville in a good showdown. Oshkosh beats Platteville to stay undefeated on the year, 56-44. Pointers will get Platteville next on Saturday afternoon here at the Berg Gym. River Falls 71, Eau Claire 52. That is not updated, still says 3 seconds left to go, but I'm pretty sure that game is a final. And La Crosse goes to Whitewater and hammers the Warhawks 77-54. So a good win for La Crosse down at Whitewater as they get the win down there, and it's just another night in the WIAC. As the Pointers get off the Schneid tonight, they're going to go to 12-3 on the year, 1-3 in the conference. For Stout, they're going to drop to 10-5 on the year and 1-3 in the conference. All right, that will do it for our broadcast here tonight on the WIAC Network. Our next broadcast will be Saturday afternoon as the Pointers host UW-Platteville, and that game will be at 3 o'clock. So I'm Matt Matano saying have yourself a good Wednesday night as the Pointers win this one 79-50, and good night, everybody.